Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to RLCS Overtime, your one-stop shop for all things Rocket League eSports and RLCS. I'm your host, Wave Punk. I've got a Quinn Laudel, a Findable Carpet, and a Karma here with me. Karma, how are you doing?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Doing good. Thanks for being here. Carpet is on the wrong side of the desk.
I don't like it. Quinn,
get used to it.
Ooh. Quinn thinks this is a permanent fixture, and I don't know if we're going to be able to deal with this. I don't know.
It's a permanent fixture.
I think it was a request from Karma, probably. She's like, just Quinn, that side of the desk.
I just wanted Carpet with me.
Yeah, I think it was less about you and more about Carpet. I'm pretty sure that's how this works. Guys, we just got done with having the promotion relegation tournaments for North America and for Europe, and we have new teams qualified for the RLCS for Season 5 in both regions. Here in North America, Renegades made it back through the upper bracket, but out of style, Oceania, Justin, and Epic Johnny. We'll get to see them play in Season 5.
I mean, just the fact that everything we predicted was 100% wrong.
Completely wrong.
we had, I mean, I guess not a 50-50 shot. I don't know stats very well, but the fact that we chose the only two of the 4 teams that didn't make it.
They did not make it.
Feels bad, man.
Feels real bad, man. All 4 of us, 2 with a blanket. We're just like, definitely both of these teams.
Definitely Fibian and Allegiance.
Neither of you had Out-Style Renegades?
No, we
Did you?
The Soupy's
Yeah,
message
I had
here.
both of them.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Those were your 2 picks?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
Out-Style, I mean, I've been friends with them for a while. We play in 6 minutes together all the time. Totally thought that they were going to do it. And then, I mean, Dapper. How can I doubt? I've been one of Dapper's biggest supporters since he's played. I can never pick against him.
I love Dapper. I absolutely love Dapper. But you watched Fibian go 7-0 in league play in the RLRS, and you gotta give him some faith there, right?
Yeah, like how can you not cheer for a team that's like literally destroying the RLRS? And the RLRS is not easy to get into.
No, I know that. Really, Quinn? You're going to throw that on me this early into the show? Okay.
Guys, we're gonna be here for like a whole hour.
My
This is gonna
God.
be great stuff.
And he's already starting out with that. Okay.
Let's talk about Renegades first, okay? Because Dapper was absolutely incredible. These guys came through the upper bracket. We on overtime were not giving them any faith. We were saying, you know, we think this might be the time they're done. Maybe the rival series would be good for them to go down there. But no, through the upper bracket, didn't lose a series, and they stayed here.
Yeah, well, one of the things for me why I didn't have any faith is it seemed they didn't have any faith of themselves in their own roster. A lot of just sudden swaps we see, just deciding, do we want Miho, do we want Timmy, do we want Moses? And it just seemed like they weren't really confident, but something came together for them. They really came to their own and played like an RLCS quality team.
And there was just a lot that, even just watching them play throughout the season, that it was so uncharacteristic. It's like, what's going on? Even Dapper, as one of the most mechanical players I've ever watched, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch the kid play 1v1s, and it's like a different game whenever I watch him play. But I still was like, where is he? I didn't see him all season. And I don't know, was there something else that you saw that I didn't? Am I blind?
I think it was all of them, honestly. It was Dapper stepping up in terms of like scoring, and Timmy, like, he hadn't like popped off all season, right?
Sure.
It seemed like he really showed up during those games. And then Moses, like, I feel like Moses did a really solid job in defense, which is what Timmy and Dapper need, that like third support player.
Yeah.
He wasn't whiffing important clears. He was making all those amazing saves that he is known to do from his history, and I thought that really helped them to keep where they're at.
I agree. I felt like one of the problems that Renegades had the entire season was figuring out how to rotate properly. Like Moses was struggling on the offense. He was struggling to get involved offensively at all. And then when he was trying to insert himself in the offense, it seemed to break up what Timmy and Dapper were doing. So to have him stick on that back line, to have him kind of play the anchor of the sweep, seemed to be working better. And I think that was a big part of what put them through.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, especially because Moses has always been a player that, if you had to choose a player to take out of that roster, just doesn't match the playstyles, I think it's going to be Moses. I mean, usually you want a similar playstyle between all 3 players so that, you know, they're all very versatile. It doesn't matter who's on offense or on defense. But Moses just sticking out, it became weird to see him as Dapper and Timmy lost confidence in themselves. They wouldn't pass to Moses as much. You could tell Moses just really sticked out. But like you said, Moses really came into it in the series.
Yeah, I think Moses does a really good job of just allowing Dapper and Timmy to be those aggressive type players, which they really are. And I feel like sometimes when they were playing with Miho, they got caught being too aggressive because all 3 of them are those aggressive styles, which can work really well. If you're really fast and really aggressive, sometimes you can just outpace your opponent. But as Rocket League is growing, like it has been, that isn't always the style that's going to work. Once people expect that, you can start to play patient, and then the aggression kind of counters you. You can get counterattacked and stuff like that. And I think Moses just does a really good job of just, you know, chilling, playing back, playing that defensive role and letting Dapper and Timmy just kind of do a two-man rotation on offense, and Moses just comes in when they need to.
Yeah, and it worked out well for them. They're going to qualify again for RLCS, but on the other side, down on the lower bracket, coming up and through it all is Out of Style. Lachinio, Epic Johnny, and Justin. Justin and Lachinio are the two players that kind of have been grabbing everybody's attention on this roster, but it really felt to me like Epic Johnny was a huge part of why they were able to qualify here and make it up and out of the rival series.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. His third man play for this team was absolutely incredible. Usually it's something you see Justin do, but as we saw Justin play more offensively, we saw Epic Johnny kind of take on those defensive roles for him, and I thought that it worked out really well for this roster.
I more just want to pose, Karma, you said you played a lot of six-mans with this roster, particularly all three of them, I imagine.
Yeah.
Our experience being able to watch and see what they're capable of is obviously a little bit minimal because this is the first time on a stage like this, and it's a lot more difficult for us to see. We don't cast the RLRS. I just want to know, like, your opinion on their playstyle as a whole, like individually. Obviously, I know Lachinio used to be super offensive, and I noticed that he's kind of more defensive now, which is what it used to be kind of really bad at. Like season 1, he was not great on defense, and it seems like he's almost kind of flip-flopped everything. Yeah,
I think they rely on Justin's mechanics defensively as well as offensively. I feel like he's a really big offense for them. I think he scores like he averages like a goal and a half a game. He's kind of their finisher. I mean, his mechanics are so good that he can bail you out of bad defensive situations and score almost any pass you hit towards him. And then I think Latch and Epic Johnny have like a similar play style where they're more midfield / defensive types, and they do a really good job of setting him up. And Johnny, I think, is really underrated in terms of like his ability to score. His mechanics are insane. He's always been a really good mechanical player, and sometimes he can just shoot the ball when he's on better than a lot of players that I've seen. It's really impressive, and it's just he comes out of nowhere and will just drill it top corner.
Now you talked about Epic Johnny on the defense and kind of opening up things for Justin, but I felt like Epic Johnny was really scoring a lot of goals. He was an offensive powerhouse this weekend, and it was a big part of why they were able to qualify for RLCS, which means that we're going to see Allegiance down in the rival series here, and Fibian, the team that I think it was like we were okay. So Fibian's making it in, and then who else was kind of the way I think we were talking about it last week. And Fibian, first team to get knocked out here. What happens for Fibian now? Do they go through and just sweep again, or do they make some changes? Like this is the second time they've tried to make an RLCS and haven't been able to make it.
Yeah, I think it's a really difficult position to be in, just because it's got to be so discouraging to say, hey, you know what? We are so much better than these RS teams, but not good enough to make it to RLCS when it matters, and it's got to be heartbreaking for them, and I think that especially due to their age, it probably wears on them a little heavier than most. But we saw what happened with Cloud9 when they didn't make it. We've seen so many teams just fall down, and it only helps them more. I think that they could use another year of just kind of mental strength, working on just not giving up easy games, playing where they're strong, and just focusing on their own play style.
Yeah, I really encourage them to stick together as a roster. It's so easy to just think, hey, I'm done. Let's finish this. Like we didn't do well. Let's break up. We know we're good enough. But I think honestly, when they are just like the fact that they went 7-0 the entire RLRS, and the only times that we've seen them really kind of fall beneath their capabilities is whenever there's a lot of pressure for the qualifiers, for the promotional league, right? So it seems it's a pattern at this point, and it really seems the pressure is their weak point. And again, I got to go with Quinn. Like I think age is a big part of that, experience as well. Lachinio's had experience in this, so he could help lead his crew through that, through just the pressure. Like he's literally been on stage and won before, which is all the pressure it takes. So I think he was able to help kind of captain his team through that. Like, hey guys, this is, whatever he did, I don't know, I'm not in their comms, but I don't know. I really encourage them to stick together. I really hope that Fibian does not break up.
Karma, in your opinion, is Lachinio back?
Yeah, he has to be back, right? Yeah. He's in RLCS.
Yeah, he's made it here. We'll get to see him play next season in the North American region. In Europe, though, things went a little bit more like we expected them to go in in the overtime segment there. If you take a look at the bracket, the two teams that qualify, Fnatic and Team Envy, those are the teams we were expecting to make it through. Fnatic, though, coming through the upper bracket and defeating the grudge matches they had in their way. First Team Secret, the team that knocked them out, and then Team Envy, play teams that was taking their players. These guys gonna feel good.
Yeah, Fnatic, my boys, I was so happy for these guys to have the success that they did going up against Team Envy. No matter how badly performing Team Envy was throughout the whole season, it doesn't matter, because you're still going up against former world champions who on any day could just come out and bring some fantastic play. We've seen that happen so many times again. They knocked out PSG's winning record, and so for Fnatic to really come together, especially mid-series, that adaptation, that's just something special for me.
Yeah, here Fnatic just the way they showed up in the play-in was not what we were expecting. We were hoping them back when they were called the leftovers. We were hoping they would make it in then, but then they just absolutely dominate. The last time we saw them lose on an RLCS stage was that play-in. Since then, through the entire rival series, they went undefeated. They went undefeated in the promotion tournament. They're basically 9-0 as far as matches are concerned right now. These guys are on a tear, and I cannot wait to see what they do in Season 5.
There's a player that I always like watching, that would be Maestro, and I'm really happy to see him again in a competitive stance. And actually going against a lot of his, now he's going to be in a stage where he's going against a lot of his former teammates. And, you know, he just did play against Greasy, and they beat them. And we saw a similar storyline with Farah, right? Farah and, you know, PSG taking out leftovers and doing all, like, you know, I think it was in the play-in, right? She was able to. Yeah. So we see that storyline of, like, now we're getting to the point where Rocket League has, like, your ex-players, your ex-teammates, and I kind of like that, the fun little grudge matches. Those are really fun to watch. So now that Maestro's back in, along with his teammates, you know, Siki not being in it was pretty heartbreaking to see. But I don't know, I think it's just exciting.
Yeah, that was one of the storylines I was looking forward to most of the season. I've always been a WeDem girls fan since like the very beginning. They were like the team I always cheered for.
Yeah.
And Remco was always my favorite right when I started. So I was looking forward to the Maestro versus Envy, Greasy replacement type story, and we didn't get to have that. So now that we'll have that next season, I'm excited for that.
And moving conversation over to Envious, you know, we're talking about Remco here. These guys had a very difficult season. Not the season that they wanted, not the season that Envious was looking for, but in the play-ins here, they were able to deliver, qualify again, and while they had some really great showings and looked like they were maybe starting to return to their former glory, it wasn't the stomping we were kind of expecting them to be. So how do we feel about Envious right now? Is the team back? Do we still have questions? I feel like I still have questions about Envious.
Yeah. Perfect way to say it. You know, there are still questions that need to be answered from Team Envy. They didn't come out and dominate like the former Envy that we know. So we're going to really need to see how they perform next season. This offseason is going to be huge for them, seeing maybe if they can work on their synergy a little bit more. It just didn't seem like they were all there, especially defensively, letting in a lot of really just absurd goals, which I didn't think was very Envy-like at all.
Yeah, I liked watching them, especially on the offense. I felt like they were really connecting with each other. They were getting some double taps, getting some good infield passes, but I don't know, rotationally and then defensively, there was still definitely some questions for me about Envious.
It's just that struggle of these names really shouldn't be making these mistakes. And just all season, every week, we question, why does this keep happening? They must be in a rut, but when it happens all season, they clearly aren't in a rut. That's just what they're doing. This is just their level right now. And to go from such a high level of, like, world champions to legitimately pretty much one of the worst in the league, what on earth went down? You know, what could have happened with your team? And I don't know. I think we all have questions. I definitely don't feel terribly confident in them. But the fact that they're still there, they've got an entire season's worth of league play now to prove themselves again. They've also got an entire offseason to work on it, which is where they thrived. A lot in the offseason, they did really, really well. But I don't know. I'm still a little wishy-washy. Yeah,
I think that they're kind of going through that momentum struggle that we talked about earlier, which is like that Greasy and Remco, I think, have really similar play styles. And when you had Maestro instead of Devo, since they had all three of the same play style, which is like that midfield type play style, they had a lot better synergy. But since you have Devo now, who's, in my mind, like more of an offensive, aggressive player, with two midfield players, you can lack on that defensive end. So I think they're trying to figure out what rotationally fits out best for them, whether it's Greasy or Remco being that kind of defensive rock that they need to be.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me to think about, you know, like Envy, like if we're to get Maestro back on the team or something like that and play Maestro for Devo and have like literally a reunion of WeDem Girls Northern Gaming of old, like it sounds cool. That sounds like that'd be fun, but at the same time, that's season one Rocket League. That was a season one meta that worked well, and I don't know if I could even say that that team would play well. And as the scene is evolving, we've talked about this with Flipside, and now we're kind of doing the same thing with some of the Envious names, where it's like, at what point does just the fact that it's Remco, it's Greasy, stop to come into play, and we have to like really look at the results and say these results are speaking for themselves, and they're struggling to stay in the RLCS right now.
Yeah, I think that one of the things for Envy, which it makes me say that a roster change wouldn't be good for them, is that we see Remco, someone who's been, you know, historically very accurate at shooting, a great striker, and he just doesn't hit the same shots. We saw a couple, like he had a triple touch that was absolutely incredible, and then we see him kind of miss open goals at the same time. And when you have a team that just like none of them seem to be able to shoot on target time and time again, no matter how well you're playing and how many times you can open up defense, if you can't finish a ball, you know, all of it's for nothing.
Well,
Totally.
that can also come from not being comfortable with your teammates too. And it sounds weird, but when you're playing and you're completely comfortable with your teammates, you don't hesitate or second guess at all. And maybe what was happening with Remco, since his mechanics obviously are there, he could be maybe hesitating for a second or second guessing, and even that split second caused you to not be 100% accurate with a shot. So.
Totally. Well, we'll get to see how MVS improves in the offseason and as they move forward. Now, for the OCE region, we had the 2 teams qualify for land from the OCE playoffs. That was Chiefs and Pale Horse eSports. Chiefs is the former Alpha Sydney that we got to see last season, so that was great to hear them. When we come back here, we're going to take a quick break. First, we're going to hear from OCE, hear some of their interviews, and then we're going to interview Karma. So a lot of interviews going to happen here really quickly. But for now, let's hear it from the OCE boys.
Welcome to the Rocket League OCE Championship. We just finished the grand final, and I have one of the winners from Chiefs Esports Club, Torsos, here with me to do a bit of an interview. Torsos, just to start off with, how are you feeling after winning the day?
It feels terrible because I'm the biggest anchor probably in OCE history. But Jake and Drip carried really hard. This feels good for that though.
I mean, it always feels good to be carried. I know from that experience very well. You are coming through. You're going to be the second keyboard and mouse player ever at RLCS. Considering you're always the first, does that have any special meaning to you?
Not really. I don't let the keyboard affect my mindset in any way. The only keyboard players I have to compete with is in OCE, which is pretty typical.
All right, and you are going to be up against G2 Esports. Will you prefer to be up against them than PSG, and why?
I would definitely prefer to be up against G2 rather than PSG. PSG are too fast of gamers for us. I think if we just pull really well out in the boot camp and adapt to the international teams, we could have a really good chance at beating G2.
That's great. Well, I believe against you, against G2 Esports, I think you're going to do really well, and I hope you would do. But again, congratulations, and we'll see you at the World Championship in just 2 weeks. Welcome back. We actually have a second interview as well. Kami from Pale Horse Esports, you just qualified for the RLCS World Championship for the first time. Are you excited to go through?
Yeah, I'm really stoked. I'm looking forward to playing in our NEU, see what it's like, how much different it is from OCE. I'm just stoked, I'm speechless.
Are you scared at all about playing against PSG Esports?
I wouldn't say scared, maybe a bit intimidated, but I think if we do some studying on them, watch their games, we'll be alright.
So there's never been a New Zealand player in the history of RLCS to score a single goal. Do you think you're going to be able to beat that record?
Yeah, of course. There'll be more than one, for sure. Yeah, we'll do.
Excellent. Any final words for all those thousands of bajillions of fans you have out there?
Just thanks so much for the support. It's unreal. See you in 8.
Excellent. We're going to see Kami in just a week and a half there at the RLCS World Championship. Thank you for coming along and hope to see you soon.